Well, do you want to jump in and talking about some knights?
Yeah, I finally cracked the combat in that game and got the master skill or whatever, from Tomcat or whatever, which that fight sucked. But the second I did my online combat training, I realized how many things I was doing wrong. Everybody, like Tim was saying, stop riposting. Everybody, stop using shields. Everyone stop, or at least at the beginning of the game. You'll get more stamina later and shields will become a little more viable.
Yeah.
But stop doing everything, sidestep things, everything that you're not supposed to. The game is what it's very I know when you play a Dark Souls game, you have to kind of unlearn everything. Same for
Yeah.
this. Like when you're in this perspective, you're like, oh, this is gonna play like Skyrim or something like that. Don't
Yeah. Don't do
don't play
that.
this like that. Yeah, like it's not gonna work out for you.
Yeah.
And once I kind of got it and it clicked, I was just like, oh, okay, I get this now. A lot of you need to feint. I need to realize on feinting and stuff like that, feinting my attacks. And now I'm just having a great time with this game.
Yeah.
That frustration of feeling like the game is really pushing you down and holding you down. Like I'm finally kind of seeing through that fog.
Hmm.
And man, this game is just super cool. I've done a couple more little missions. I'm in the middle of getting my dog, which I was kind of keeping updated in the chat a lot about. I'm like, I'm gonna get these
Sick.
guys, these poachers, kick my butt the last time I was here, but I'm gonna come back way stronger. These guys are
The
gonna be
dog
like,
mission is a long string of missions, by the way. Like,
it is,
yeah.
yeah. There's I know there's a lot of the game and missions feeding into missions, kind of like you were saying with The Witcher 3, where it's like, I stumble across a guy who was being attacked by wolves and he was in a chair, and that ends up being the gameskeeper that another mission points me towards in this mutt thing, trying to get my dog back. But I found the gameskeeper before I was even told that the gameskeeper existed. So these are two sister quests that kind of handshake each other. That
Yeah.
it's just so interesting to me how the game feeds into itself and how again everything it may be a vignette story, but it always feels like it's part of the world, and it
So
just
watch
makes it
this right
so
here. The
glowing.
dog, especially when you're facing a group, how important he is.
Yeah,
He will
Hmm.
completely occupy an enemy or two, especially if you
can,
level up
can
his
hold
health.
hidden.
And he'll just and sometimes he can even make him
Oh,
bleed and do damage to him. So then you can focus on someone else because
We'll
doggy
run up to
will
him
that's
while
help you.
he's distracted. You can
Yeah.
pound on that guy.
Yep. Yep.
Um, it's super cool. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. The last thing I did was find the hermit sword. To I'm gonna make that into a wedding gift. For
Yep.
the wedding. And now all I need to do is talk to the guy, and I go to the wedding. So I'm just kind of doing a couple side missions here. Even though I said I was like, I just need to start focusing on story. I was just like, well, now that I know how to do stuff,
Okay. I will tell you
I
this: the
wanna.
side missions, in my opinion, and I think a lot of us say this when we fall in love with an open world game. We're like, do the side missions; they're all so good. So I
Yeah.
stand by that
hmm.
too. I think they're all so good. But whether it's the wedding sequence or sequences that follow, what you do in the world and who you know will make a difference in those sequences later too. So it'll be like, oh,
Interesting.
you helped so and so, so I'll trust you with this. Like it pulls back in. Like, that's what makes it feel again another layer of that
Yeah.
immersion of, holy crap, they know that I helped
Yeah.
the
Okay,
whatever
so
this
two
guy.
more side missions. You got
Yeah,
it, Tim.
and I think it's
I'm
I think
in.
it's best to pick a path too, either blacksmith or miller. I was
Yeah.
kind of trying to do both, but blacksmith's more honorable, miller's less. But they also have different loyalties. So over time, as you start to learn the story of the two kings, and I actually looked up the history, it's incredibly historically accurate between
Yeah.
Hmm.
Wenceslas and
That's what they
Sigismund.
pride themselves on.
And I
Yeah.
didn't realize how much of this history in Eastern Europe with Czech and Germany and all these other countries is very so intertwined, and Hungary, all these countries were so intertwined with their politics and who was really in charge. So that kind of depends. Like if you think you know what if you're going to be loyal to this side or that side, that should help guide who you support as well,
Hmm.
which is really interesting. Um, but I will say that the potions that you make can make a difference in how successful you are in anything from combat to conversations, because you can boost all kinds of skills with the potions that you learn how to make. Or even if you don't know how to make them yet, you can find them, buy them, steal them, win them in missions, stuff like that. So, or every hotel that you buy a room in, every tavern that you decide to stay in, they usually have some free potions sitting on a bench or a shelf nearby
Yeah.
for you to grab. So
And
always super helpful.
what's nice about also helping the game feel real. I know, sometimes when I was describing this game to a friend, I was like, "Oh my god, yeah, you get hungry, you got to sleep, and you have to manage all this stuff." And they're like, "Out, I'm out. I couldn't be more out. Stop talking to me about this." I'm like, man, but there's something about it. Like when you finally get to an inn and like you need to sleep, you grab a
Yeah.
room. They're like, hey, there's chow in the kitchen. You're like, oh my god, I need that right now, you
Right.
know. And you can really eat like out of the bowl like a few times and like get
You're
a
full.
like like beyond full. You
Yeah.
almost get like a buff from being like extra full or whatever, and then
Uh-huh.
sleeping in a bed and getting like good sleep and stuff like it. Again, it just it wraps me so into like it
Hmm.
feeling like I was on a journey. Like, oh, I got to this town right at nightfall. I'm
Right.
hungry. I'm tired. I have to do those things. They will affect me in a positive way if I do take care of those things. It just, it's, I know that's, well, it's an immersive sim. That's what it's supposed to be, you know, but like they're just nailing it in a way. Cause I don't always love immersive sims. Like they're sometimes I like them, you know, but like
Right.
this one, I really like the way that this is mechanically driven in that way, and just everything feeds into everything. It just makes it feel like I'm living in this world when I turn this game on.
And the farther you get in the game, the more perks you get, the less you'll even think about that stuff. Like every once in a while, you might have to grab, like, eat a piece of dried beef that you've got sitting in your inventory just to make sure you're not
Yeah, I was gonna ask,
hungry.
how
But
often are you even really eating and
I don't pay it
drinking?
that much.
Like,
Like what
I
Kyle
don't
said,
know.
you just grab a couple spoonfuls. Like once you pay for a tavern, and by the way, I always recommend, I know it takes a while to get enough money, but just ask them if you can stay long term and you can buy a permanent room there. That way you always have a
Oh,
save point. And all
I
those
didn't know that.
chests that are like infinite magical Harry Potter style chests where you can put everything
Yeah.
into it and it never has capacity. That stuff will carry over to whatever other room that
So any
has a
chest, so
chest.
all
mm,
the chests are
They're
connected.
all
I love
magically
that.
connected
I
Harry
love
Potter
magic.
magic style.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mary Poppins
Yep.
chests.
So, for example, if you do decide to steal, or maybe you get in a fight and you loot some stuff, and for some reason it's still considered stolen, doesn't seem fair, whatever, but you're spotted with it, they'll go after you. If it was stolen in the area, they'll recognize you. That's the sword we've been looking for, and so they'll come after you. So just throw it into your chest. Wait for several in-game days. It can be up to a couple weeks if it's a really high-priced piece of gear. You have to let it sit there for a while, or just travel far away, and they won't know about it. But anyway, like elements like that, immersion, yes, but also really cool gameplay mechanics of you can steal if you want. You just got to be careful. And by the way, there's
yeah.
perks with that. There's thievery perks where you can make it lose its stolen status way earlier, or you can maybe trick uh, the law enforcement quicker or more consistently. So there's lots of that kind of stuff. Lots of perks across the board. Everything
Yeah.
with your dog to your horse to speech. And so, yeah,
Well,
really,
and I
it,
love the outfit system as well, where it's just like
yeah,
I know I'm gonna be in town a bit, so I collected an outfit that's kind of got like good conversational perks and good like blacksmithing and alchemy perks or whatever.
nice, good
So now
call.
when I'm in town, like I can switch to like that outfit,
Mm-hmm.
and like it means something to the world. It's not just like an aesthetic thing, you know, like Cyberpunk kind of turned it into an all aesthetic thing where it's like, yeah, it's just all about looking cool in this game, you know. But you know, in previous versions of that game, you had like stats attached to like your to your gear and everything like that. And I like that they take it an extra step forward and
Yep.
like again and they do this in Skyrim. This is not, you know, a new thing or whatever. It's just, but just the way that the game handles it is very cool. I like putting on gear that like reflects what I'm about to do in the game. Hey, I'm about to go out adventuring. Now I'm going to put on my armor and stuff like that. But I don't want to walk around town like that. You know, I want
Yeah.
to. I'm gonna be
Yeah.
in conversations, and I want to look a little more noble or whatever while talking
Yep.
to people and trying to get their favor. And it's just like it's just so it's this has got to be in the top 5 most immersive games I think I've ever played.
Yeah.
Like it's so incredibly immersive.
It is, and some people I think take that as a negative, I, which bums me out because if I hear immersive, I'm not talking about like Rust, where it's like, hey, if you
Yeah,
got hurt yesterday, your character is slow for a week. Like it's not that. That's not.
yeah,
That's not what it is.
That's too much. That's too
It's
yeah,
much.
got so
yeah,
many of these nice, convenient video game elements, like the magical chest in every tavern and any
yep,
room that is yours. For now and forevermore, you can go access that and either put all your crafting materials in there. Like you'll be surprised how much all your alchemy stuff, if you're really into that and gather a ton of herbs, even if you dry them, it fills up your weight capacity super quick when you have a stack of
yeah.
like 100 of each type. Throw them all in that chest and you can go access it anytime you're in town and want to do some alchemy. Run back to the tavern, get access to your chest that way. So it gives you lots of like nice video game perks, including the perk system that's in there. Your horse has a ton of capacity too, by the way. As soon as you get a
Mhm.
horse, which by the way you can get, I didn't realize this from the first game. You had a horse called Pebbles,
Yeah.
which I guess was kind of like his main horse. That horse is in Samin, if you go to the town of Samin, which is where the wedding's going to be. And if you do the right conversational things with the guy who runs that horse trader thing, you can convince him to let you just get on that horse and it's yours.
And I failed all those conversation checks, so I had to buy my horse back.
Yeah. Well, I ended up
Well, that's a
trading it
bummer.
real quick, kind of like hot tip for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. There are two horses that if you ride them, maybe there's more. There's two for sure. That if you ride them enough in the game, it'll activate a specialized hidden perk for that horse, and their stats skyrocket. And that's
Oh wow.
Pebbles is one of them because Pebbles
Oh,
is
I didn't
not
realize.
a great horse. It's okay.
Yeah, I heard that Pebbles is not a great horse, but
No,
it can become
but if
one.
you ride it, I forget the amount of distance. It's like a lot of kilometers in game. It'll all of a sudden give you. I forget what the name of the perk is. I missed it because I already traded in for a better horse, which I feel bad about now. But apparently, Pebbles is one of the best horses in the game if you hang on to
Keep
him.
Pebbles. I'm keeping you, Pebbles. You're
Yeah.
mine, Pebbles.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
most
ride
videos
it.
I
Just
saw,
ride it back and forth, man.
most tip videos I saw were like, get rid of Pebbles as
They're
quick as
wrong.
possible. Yeah.
They're
All right,
wrong.
cool. I'm glad you said
He
something.
has a good speed and amazing capacity. I'm talking like I think 3, 4
I
hundred
need you to
pounds.
be a mobile like capacity center.
Yeah,
That's all I need you to be,
he's your
Pebbles. Yeah.
walking. Yeah, he's your
You're
he's your moving
you're my
chest.
walking bank. Yeah.
And then there's another horse that you get kind of after. There's a whole sequence of things that happen with the wedding, and there's some stuff that happens afterwards. And after that string of kind of linear-ish quests, you have an option, which I took because it was a slightly improved horse and cooler-looking horse, to swap it in. So I did, and then of course I found out later I should have kept Pebbles. So I felt horrible, but. Going back to Samin as I was exploring some more, Pebbles is there again for sale. You can't talk the guy into giving it to you again, but you can go buy Pebbles again if you want to. Because when you
Okay.
traded them in, they gave him back to the horse trader, basically.
That's cool. Yeah.
So not gone forever. If I decide to go back and
Third time's a charm, Pebbles.
yeah, I might.
Yeah.
Plus, the name Pebbles is so funny for a horse.
It is. Yeah.
That's a good name.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm right there with you, Kyle. Like the combat has been an interesting journey for me. I went from like, okay, this tutorial makes so much more sense. The first game I really struggled and it was so
Yeah.
janky, but I understand what they're trying to do. It just didn't seem like it worked the way I wanted it to. But in this game, after the tutorial where you're doing a training with Hans, I was like, dude, this combat feels great. I'm going to be great. And then I proceeded to get beat in like every
Yeah.
fight.
Everything. Yeah.
I was like, is there no fight you're allowed to win in this? Are you supposed to lose every? You know when you fight a boss that's too hard, you're like, I think I'm supposed to lose this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This is a scripted loss.
That's
yeah.
how it felt. And I started just kind of putting in the time to figure out whether it was YouTube videos or just experimenting with stuff as I was playing, combination of what weapons to use. Maybe I need to stop trying to parry everything. Maybe just block to build up some stamina. And then after because they also have stamina. So they'll wear out their stamina trying to attack you. Then let me try one of these combos that's in the menu. I haven't really tried these. Oh my gosh, combos work great. Took off like half his health once he was tired. Like you start to realize, oh, they want you to do this stuff. And then there was even like a heavy weapons combo because I had an axe that was really good. And I unlocked a heavy weapons combo where if you can pull it off, it's just 3 quick hits. Then he'll bonk them in the face. And not only does it stun them, knock them back, he'll use the butt of the axe at the end of the combo and just hit him right in the face. And it
Nice.
stuns them majorly. And all of a sudden, those little moments made me go, "Oh, I think I really like this combat." It just started to grow over time. And of course, as you talked about with Tomcat, who's a trainer in the Nomad camp, you get Master Strikes, and it's a game changer for sure. If you use swords, only if you use swords.
Yeah. Right.
But the idea there is you're watching the enemy's stance, right? There's 4 stances most enemies have: left, right, up, or down. And they're either going to try to hit you low, high, or from the left to right. And with Master Strike, you basically just go the opposite of that. And in that parry window, you hit attack instead of parry, and you'll hit them for major damage. And they can't block it if you do it correctly.
Yeah. And like again, and that's the money shot is that like they
Yeah.
can't block it and it'll always hit, and you don't have to worry about if you're already pressing a button to perfect guard, might as well just switch that out for
Yep.
an attack. And boy, again, it's changed everything.
And if their
Like,
health is low
I-
enough, the finishing move that you do with that is so satisfying.
Well, and absolutely, yeah. And what else is cool about it is that like as every fight goes on, they do get worse. If you just get a couple hits on them, they're just worn out.
They'll give up
get a little more.
sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, their swings will get little more sloppier. Maybe one of their arms are like kind of dangling. So it's just like if it's a battle of attrition, where you're trying to wear each other out, like, and you're patient. The battle will just get easier if you
That's right.
just take it slow, and then you can get more bold as you get more used to the
Yep.
combat system. But like taking like the peck, like I'm just gonna hit you every couple, moves or whatever. Like that is a really good way to get your foot in the door to this
I
combat.
agree.
And I think I was just really pushing it too much
Yep.
and stamina, gassing myself out by like having shields on me and too heavy of armor and stuff like that in every single slot. And it's just like you just got to move everything around until you got that stamina, because stamina is more important than health. It just is. It's more important than defense. It's more important than everything.
Yeah.
If you have stamina, like you'll block
That'll absorb the hit.
Yeah, you'll block and absorb most of those hits. But the
Mhm.
second you're out of stamina, I mean,
I think even
you
in this
die
little
as
clip
quickly as
here,
they
this
do,
guy with the red, once your stamina's gone and then he hits you, I think your health.
Oof.
Yeah, look at
Yeah,
that.
look, that's a chunk of health from just one hit too.
Oof.
Boy,
That's
if you
once
it
your
gets hit one more
stamina's
time,
gone.
it's done.
And then that is now the new max for your stamina, whatever your health comes down to. So
yeah, exactly. So your stamina cannot go beyond
What's the
your
purple?
health.
the purple is their health.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I
whoever
didn't
you're
know that
focused,
actually.
whoever
No,
you're
I said
focused
yep.
on.
Like I knew what that. No, I had no idea.
Yeah. So if you switch who you're
good to know.
targeting, that'll show you what health they have left.
Okay.
Gotcha.
And see how right there, as he was almost dead, the guy was trying to give up.
Yep,
Then
yep, yep.
this player, whoever's playing, stabbed him.
He's got loot on him. You kill everybody.
One other thing that's
They
cool
attack
that
you kill
took
them.
me forever to figure out is, I'm sorry we're talking about it so much, but I can't help it. I love this game.
No, who cares? Like
these-
this is the best part. It was when two people play the same game, we can have a real conversation about something instead of me just
I
talking at you guys about Yakuza.
I agree.
Like, we're
And Dan,
actually-
Dan,
there's
I
a back
think you'll
and forth
like
going
this
on
when
here.
you.
Oh, I absolutely.
I
Yeah,
think it really-
I know I will.
And you can even from the visuals, like you're gonna like the visuals. We didn't even talk about the story, but the story and voice acting is really top notch. And I'm not trying to oversell it, but it is like CD Projekt Red levels of really good voice acting and writing. Yes, some recycled NPC models for sure, and some voices that you're like,
Sure.
wow, I've heard that
It's
guy.
a big game, so.
Yes. So those things aside, the main character's very unique. Unique armor, unique weapons, unique personalities and voices, and the cinematics just I'm already wanting to go back and re-experience some of these epic moments, and I know there's more as I wrap up the game, but really, really good. But there's these attacks that I didn't. And then the game told me about feint attacks. I didn't know what it meant, so I used to try to like just have my guy aiming to the right and then quickly switch to the left and swing, and it wasn't working. I was like, feint attacks don't work. They lied to me. I didn't realize you had to hold in a charge attack one direction, and then before you let go, switch to another direction and then let go. And that's a feint
So
attack.
if you're left and you hold, you put
Yeah.
out, and then you switch the joystick as you release, and like he'll faint. Yeah, it's.
I didn't
It took me a
know
second
that.
to figure that out as well.
Now,
Yeah.
some enemies are good enough, they'll block it, but they won't block it every time. And a lot of those hits will start to get through. It's a great way to chip away, like you said, chip away at health, learning how to do feint attacks, learning how, like once you unlock combos, like actually train with characters in the game that offer you training. Just say, can you teach me something? And not only could you possibly learn a combo, your skill in that, area might just go up. But you might learn, some of these combos are crazy good with swords, with heavy weapons, with pole arms. Some of them, and so whichever one you want to focus on, you try all of them, and they're all, pretty legit. I will say there's like duels and stuff where it's all about just essentially a long sword, sometimes a sword and shield. So it's always good to have some sword ability for some story moments. But also, they don't make you win everything. I learned that too, whether it's a dice game or a duel, especially if it's part of a story. When you're at the wedding, there's some opportunities for both those things. It doesn't really matter if you win all of it. Part of me wanted to stop and reload because I wasn't winning. But then I was like, oh, they actually just said like, hey, you fought as good as you could. No one could beat that guy, but no big deal. Here's your reward. And, you can, let's go have a drink. You're probably feeling pretty sore after that one. It didn't affect the story. And they kind of move along.
Yeah, but also it's nice that they recognized it too. It's just like, hey, you lost, but no big deal. Let's grab a drink real quick.
Yes.
Sad eyes,
Yeah.
Like that's kind of cool.
Yeah. So anyway, one other thing, I don't know if you've done this yet, Kyle, but if you go back to your original camp where things kind of hit the fan right at the beginning of the game, there's a little cave back there that has a way to die in it that lands on a 1 like all the time.
Oh, I don't think I grabbed that, but I know the area.
And it's still there. I went back to check, and there's a couple bandits, so you have to take them out. There's probably 3 or 4 bandits. They're not super strong, but yeah, you might have to pick them off one by one.
Okay.
And then just go back, or you can just sneak without fighting them maybe. Sneak back into a little cave behind where you played the guy at the very beginning for the ring with dice.
Yeah.
Right behind him, there's a little cave, and you just have to have a medium lockpick skill, and then you can get a free weighted die, which is a 1 like every time. So
I still don't understand the lockpicking, but it's all right. I'm not dwelling on it.
Keyboard and mouse is the way to go with that one.
Yeah, that's what you told me last time. I'm just like, all right.
Yeah. There are skill checks, very D&D like, as you can see here with that clip. There's even a perk you can unlock that will add right beside this little icon with each option. It'll tell you easy, medium, or hard to tell you like what the difficulty is. And the scale is from 0 to 30 with your skills. So if you're in the teens, you can probably handle most medium ones. If you're in the 20s, you can probably handle a lot of the hard ones.
I'm trying to get my speech up. I like to play these games silver tongue, but like they're not making it. You really have to engage with it. I just go around talking.
You have to
to
ask
everybody.
people stuff. You have all these options of like, tell me more about
You
yourself.
ask everybody everything,
Yeah.
and like it gets your speech craft up. And I'm always take the opportunity
And
to do
reading
that because
books
I'm
gets
still
your
failing
speech up.
plenty of speech checks, but it does feel really good when you pass one.
Any books you get, read them. Some of them you can study because they're for
Okay.
skills, and you can like sit on the bed and study, and your energy won't go down too much because you're sitting down, and you can study it for a number of hours. That'll make a skill go up, and your scholarship and speech will all go up. And then there's lore books that you can just open and just kind of quickly thumb through. Makes your speech and scholarship also go up just reading books. So again,
Nice.
immersion. That's what it is. To me, that's the good kind of immersion. You know, the blacksmith thing, the alchemy, those kind of pieces are really good. The way that you can choose to be a thief or super honorable, like it's not the kind of thing where you have to go to the bathroom and press A to poop or whatever. Like it's not that. That's not what they're doing to you. So,
but they should.
They should. Last thing I'll say about it, I got to the second area this past week, and I've been exploring that like crazy and doing this again. Another wave of awesome characters and missions.
When you told me there was a second area, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like the first area is so big and I haven't even uncovered all of it yet. Like it's insane.
And there is a perk in scholarship if you get it high enough where you can just unlock the whole map and it'll put all the points of interest on there for you.
Whoa, okay.
And they'll be grayed out and it won't necessarily give you all the details. You still have to go to it, but it'll it'll unfog the whole map and you can see everything and decide where you want to go.
Love that.
But you don't have to unlock that. If you like exploring, do that too, you know?
But I'm a fan of fog of war on the map. I'm not,
yeah,
I don't like it.
Yeah, I get it. But anyway, there's a massive city, and it's one of the coolest in-game open world cities. Again, since I've played stuff like The Witcher 3, it's very involved, very detailed, really grimy and real feeling. And stores open and close. There's merchants yelling at you. There's people that hate that you're riding your horse through town. There's shops that have secret back doors. If you steal the keys, you could come rob them later if you want to do that. Or
sweet.
Everything is you rob someone, by the way, and they'll come out the next day without I think Kyle talked about this, without their clothes or without their weapon or whatever you stole is gone now. So stuff like that.
I love that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like systemic systems to like crash a game for a game that
Yeah.
hasn't crashed on me yet. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's just it's a very stable game on
right.
PlayStation 5. Which
Looking at you, Todd Howard.
I've had a lot of bad experiences with like big games kind of crashing.
Well, the first
on
game
PS5.
launched in a mess.
Yeah.
I mean, technically speaking, it was a mess. Now, it still worked for a lot of people, but it was just janky and had a lot of glitches.
Yeah, the heart is what won everybody,
And I just haven't had that. I've had a few like weird open world moments. The weirdest one was when I got up in the middle of the night from a tavern because I was supposed to do something in the middle of the night. I forget what I was doing. And I walked downstairs, and none of the NPCs had started they all have like assignments. Like you can tell they're all programmed to go do things or go to sleep or whatever. They were all just standing at their. It was like full tavern, full of people all just standing, and I was like, "This is terrifying."
Yeah.
Yeah, they were just standing, not moving, not talking. So like I've had weird moments like that where just a simple reload and they all were back to normal. But anyway, yeah, dude, it's crazy immersive. The story is really good. It's very simple, but it's really, really good. And then it becomes, kind of complex with who's really in charge, who should you support. There's no black and white here, by the way. There's not really like a clearly good, clearly bad. It's more of, are you going to switch sides? Are you honorable? And it's not really dishonorable to go the other way. I don't know. It's very interesting. You get to decide.
A gray area.
A lot of gray area, which again brings me back to the whole Witcher, Skyrim, all those kind of games that give you a ton of player choice, which I think is awesome. So anyway, that's enough about this game. It's so good. I absolutely love it, and I'm going to keep talking about it. But I'm also going to try to focus some of that talk into some videos here and there that we'll put on the channel just about this, because there's some stuff that I've kind of stumbled upon in the game or watched others or read guides that helped me in the game that I think are helpful to people as they play through it. I will say it's good to have a pretty decent couple of dice for this wedding sequence. And like you're doing, Kyle, you're doing it the right way. Get some good speech, because this is almost all speech checks. There's some other checks too, but having good survival helps. You can heal people better and whatever, but speech is almost always the best thing.
I like being able to talk my way out of anything, and a lot of games make that too easy. And I like that this game is like you just can't. You're not a smarty pants like the second this game starts. Like, I like that.
The journey from before the wedding all the way till the second area is truly, like, I was just shocked at how good it was. The storytelling, the crazy twists and turns that happen. It's really good. I had no idea this game was going to be this good. I thought it'd be fun, but I didn't think it'd be this good. So very, very impressed.